but I do have an opening bit as well that we can use.
Oh, good stuff.
Unless do you have one?
No, I have no opener this week. Not that I can think
Shows
of.
how strong mine is. Do you have something you want to do instead? Yeah, you saw Richarlison getting a swift slice of street justice.
I was watching
against Nottingham Forest.
Yeah, I was watching that live, and it felt like I was watching like a moment in history. Like that's the type of thing you'll see in 10 years and be like, oh, I remember that.
Yeah, a classic Premier League years moment.
Yeah.
But you know what I couldn't help think of when I saw it?
What's that?
Andrew Tate.
Oh yeah, the top G.
Yeah, the top G, and just how
Rest in
quickly
peace.
it all ended. You know, it's like you watch him, and you're thinking, what is he doing? Why is he doing any of this? And then out of nowhere, bam, it's all over.
Yeah.
And it's not usually when that happens. It's like, how did that happen? But everyone's like, that's totally fair. That's exactly what he deserved, what he did. And there's probably like, it's just been entertainment, it's just been a fun. And they'll be like, no, it's unacceptable. Get it out of the game.
It starts with the step overs, and then
Yeah. A lot of people only saw the step overs and they looked away, but they didn't see the juggling, you know, and that's what really riled people up. Do you know they took away his Gmail? They took away the man's email. Imagine not being able to get back into your doctor's appointments because you're.
he got I think the hardest cancelling I've ever seen. We talked about him on the podcast, and by the time the next episode was on, he was gone from the world.
The no nonsense reach. What can you say?
Yeah, we've done it again. We're on the pulse of these things.
Yeah.
No, honestly, that is nonsense. Nonsense. All nonsense. But listen, I've been on that road before. They're imposters.
I think to ask me, for my opinion, a little bit unfair.
But in between that, there was drinks.
Why are you talking rubbish?
Hello, everybody, and welcome to a No Nonsense podcast with Cahill and Will. They doubt us, Will.
Yeah.
It's crazy to think there's people out there who doubted us.
Yeah.
Like there's real humans out there who don't believe in us.
Why are you posting those clips online? What are they ever going to do for you?
How could they, Will? How could they doubt us? No, hey, fair play on the clip show, Will. I was a little trip down memory lane.
Yeah.
I was listening back to it, and I thought of funnier jokes to the clips.
We've improved on each of them, I think.
Which shows, we've gotten better. Because I thought of funnier responses to things you were saying. But look, for the listeners, you can go back, listen to all those episodes. They're all on Spotify, all for free. Yeah. The audio quality will get worse the further you get back.
And from then on, it'll vary.
There is an episode where I talk to myself. Surprised that didn't make the short list.
It was talk to yourself in bad quality on two bikes.
Yeah, and I recorded bits on the train. I was going to work.
That's insane. I never knew that.
Yeah, I told you that, didn't I? Because that's why I was so quiet on the mic, because I was on the train.
No way. I
didn't have any time back then. I was working like 12 hours of the day, so I didn't have any time, and I had to get it out.
That's dedication. There's no other pod out there recording two people on a train by himself. There's no way.
And what's crazy is I thought that was a good idea at the time. Like I at no point was like, this is maybe a bit much. I'm like, no, this is good. This is a good thing.
Well, I think then especially, even more so than now, we were like, Will enjoy that, or I'd be like, Colin will enjoy that. No thoughts of anyone outside of the two of us.
Well, speaking of no thoughts of other people, Will, I think I want to clear the air right now because it's going to linger, and I'm going to be passive aggressive. You know what I'm like. I won't go over that. It's like clear right now, and what you did was intentional, and it was mean and calculated. You absolutely fucked me in fantasy football.
Oh,
you planted that story in the group chat. I responded in the group chat. I didn't no one bid on it. You planted that story about Haaland not getting started, and then you made him captain.
Yeah.
I mean, look, if that's how you want to win the league, that's fine. I wouldn't be able to sleep at night. I'd give the money back if I were you. If I win, playing those tactics.
Look, you gotta play. And look, it was my thought was, even if he doesn't start, he might come on for 10 minutes, and that's plenty of time for Haaland to score 7 goals. So I thought it was a safe bet either way.
Well, he did score a hat-trick in the first half. The second hat-trick in a row.
Yeah, which is crazy.
Last player to do that was that useless donkey Ronaldo. Last year. Remember, he's passed it last year. He scored 2 hat-tricks back-to-back. But yeah, now Haaland's the next big useless donkey, I suppose. I mean, he's obviously we knew about him. We see him clips on Instagram and stuff like that. But I mean, he is like a cross between like even Ivan Drago and Gerd Lineker. He looks like he was designed in a lab to score goals. He
literally is. I think, like, honest to God, I think he is the most clinical player I've ever seen, while also being the biggest and fastest player I've ever seen. He's insane.
It's just he's exactly what you would design to score goals. And like now, do it at the start. He was like, people were like, "Oh, well, he fit into the system." There's lots of players, Ibrahimovic, Eto'o, they've all fallen out with Pep. He's not easy to get on with. He likes schoolboys, as Imre here said. But I think when he kind of came like face to face, looking up at this towering claymation villain, he went, "Actually, what if the other 10 players got the ball to him? We just did that."
Yeah. I think 2 of the goals in the second hat-trick were literally just balls. 2 of them were like balls chipped into him that he just finished. And then the other one was, it's like he was psychic. He was just standing in the perfect position to lift his head and tap it in. But like the ball was nowhere near coming in where he was. It's just like he knew. Yeah.
And then that was the first, who was he scored the first hat-trick against?
Crystal Palace.
Yeah, Crystal Palace, who were 2-0 up.
He scored 3 goals in 20 minutes in that game.
Now, I saw that game. They should have been 3-0 up. Did you see that goal disallowed?
Yes, I did.
One of those ones that always happens. They just like, oh no, you can't do that. It's like in semi-pro. They invent the alley-oop, and the ref just blows the whistle and says, foul. You can't just go jump through the air like that, Jackie. It's like, you can't just stop the keeper rolling out. But like, it was exactly the same as the Benzema goal in the Champions League final a couple of years ago. Yeah. Except it didn't go directly in the goal. He just stuck his foot out. He threw it off it. It was like, well, why that goal didn't count? This is why people get mad at VAR and referees and stuff. Because like, there's like precedent. There's like, it's like, why would that not count? It was like, well, then say be 3-0 down. That wasn't, 3-0 down. He would have to. I guess he did score 4 goals, but that would have been to win it too. It would have been 4-3. Okay, fine. It would have been 4-3. But I mean, the momentum is everything in this game. Will, look at Arsenal.
Yeah, because it's weird. It's like, why can't you block the goalkeeper kicking the ball? Like, surely you can block everything else.
He was throwing it out. He was just throwing the ball out. So it was complete. The keeper messed up, didn't see him. He just stuck a leg out, and the ref went in panic. But oh well, he must have kicked the ball out of his hand or something. But this is the problem, right? Referee, fine. He didn't see it. It's not easy. He can't have eyes back of his head. There's VAR. Why didn't VAR? I guess they maybe don't have the authority to overrule that.
I don't know. Yeah, which always begs the question. It's like, well, what's the point? Either do one or the other. Don't have like. Why have a VAR room that's like, we'll listen to the man who's not looking at the cameras? Why bother then?
Sorry, pal, not my department. That's a you problem, ref.
Yeah, send an email if you need us.
Yeah, when there's a toe offside, we'll be there. But this blatant miscarriage of justice, not really our thing as a referee.
What did you think of Haaland not getting carded for kicking a man in the head?
Yeah, that was another one, again, that you see all the time, and it's like, well, it was dangerous play. You got endangering people, duty of care, whatever the exact rule is. I think we did an episode where we looked it up before.
Yeah, it has to have malice behind it or something like that.
I'm not entirely sure, but you do see it given. And again, Crystal Palace, usually a bogey team for City. It all went against them this time. Yeah. And a Haaland hat-trick, seal the deal. And like I said, the next week then, or the next, 3 days after that?
3 days later, yeah.
Bangs in 3 more. The perfect hat-trick this time.
Yeah, in again, 20 minutes as well. Game
Left
over.
foot, right foot header in 20 minutes, and he was done then. Shift over.
I will say as well, in Haaland's hat-trick, Dean Henderson was fucking terrible for all three of them. The first one, he was way out of position. Second one, he kicked it directly to Haaland when he was kicking at the ball. And then third one, he was way out of position as well. He's so overrated. Like, it's that thing of like people saying like, oh, look, he saved the penalty. United could have still had him, and he's not that good.
No one said United, man. That was you. You talked about United.
I see the people.
Okay.
I have my finger on the pulse.
You got your finger on the Red Devils /Red Devils. You gotta get out of there, man. It's a toxic Reddit group. The dark web. No, but did you see him actually in the game that he played a few days before, saving the penalty from Harry Kane?
With the cap.
Donning his cap to the adoring fan. They're already a goal down at that point. He was donning his cap
He's a
the stadium.
fucking clown.
And then would concede again later on. And then again, 3 later, 6 goals go past him. It's like, I get it, right? You have to be, especially in goal, like, you're getting balls driven at you. So you're already a bit on the crazy side. Yeah. So you have to have belief in yourself that you can stop these balls flying at you. But he is way past the point of where he needs to be in terms of confidence and craziness. He needs to tone it back just a few notches. Because, I mean, you know, it's fine when you say the penalty or whatever, but I mean, when you lose 6-0, I mean, they might lose again next week. They have another 30 players coming in, I heard. They're just shipping them in. The busloads of people coming into Nottingham Forest.
How could you imagine their next training session where there's like 20 new people?
Like the Royal Rumble. And people just entering every hour.
Imagine even the commentators trying to keep up. Like, it's
we said that they'll all turn on Jesse Lingard. They don't even know who he is. They got here yesterday. He's probably who Jesse Lingard is.
He's probably on the 14th highest wages now. He's probably been eclipsed.
It's like when the transfer record kept being broken every year, and Kaká. I think Kaká was like number 1 for like a few weeks, and they bought Ronaldo.
Yeah,
and then I think Bale was in after that. And it was like, oh yeah, Kaká's like now 7th in the space of like a year. It was great. That's what it was like at Nottingham Forest. I don't know if they have a plan for all those players. That's fine, but we've seen it before where you buy a lot of players, they don't gel. Will it's about gelling,
and it's like that's usually when you buy like 5 players. People like, that's too many. They've bought 20 players. That's insane. Yeah. They've bought 4 times more than the usual too many players. Like, how could they possibly gel? They probably all speak different languages and stuff. They'd never met each other.
Yeah, the infamous Tottenham Sevens. Like, too many players. That's just over half the team. They're just doubling down. Hopefully, if there's enough people, if they're all trying to gel, maybe they'll gel better. You know. Whereas
here's a good quiz for you, Kyle. How many of the 20 players do you think you could name?
Oh, fucking very little, man.
I think 2.
Of the new signings in, is Willy Bully confirmed?
That was my second one.
Yeah. Well, Willy Bully, Dean Henderson, Lingard.
17 more.
Fuck. Sheesh, I don't know. I like not that.
Imagine being the manager of that club.
Well, okay. Well, I will say it's not like I couldn't name all of Arsenal signings, you know, or even a team that was I'm more familiar with. It's just that I don't really follow Nottingham Forest at the best times, and there's not been any marquee ones. It's all like the Willy Bullies, Dean Henderson's, like decent Premier League players, solid Premier League players, which in theory that's what you need to say up.
Yeah.
I tell you what, you don't need to say up, Will.
What's that?
No players at all.
Yeah, that's.
You know what told me that? Scott Parker.
That I've never seen. We always wondered, how do you survive 2 9-0 defeats? He couldn't even do one. He said there's more coming, and they said you're out of here.
Well, you know, to be fair to Scotty, I don't think that was the reason he got sacked.
No,
I think the 9-0 itself wasn't the reason, you know, because that was like, listen, that was obviously a historically bad day at the office, a record equaling bad day at the office. That wasn't. It couldn't have been your fault, you know. That's obviously there before you. He went, you know what? It's because you didn't buy me any players.
Yeah. Today the levels were just far too much for us. Really, the levels of what we've gone up against today, we just couldn't we couldn't compete in that at that present moment in time. So of course there's elements of the game which were poor from our end. Some goals certainly were poor, but at times the quality of what it possessed, we were just under-equipped really of being able to deal with that at them moments in time. I don't know about on top of it, us being not on top of our game. That question mark's still there to be seen. This is a young group of players that have never played at this level and are in this arena. So maybe that is their level. We don't know, and we're still obviously trying to work that out. But this is the hand we're dealt at this present moment in time. So look, Liverpool are an incredible team, and today, while we did at some moments make it easy for them, we was just, the levels were far too great for us.
To be fair, well, he pulled this trick before at the start of the season.
Oh, really?
Yes, he had the same thing. He said they were way off where they need to be. They don't have the players, don't have the talent required to stay in the Premier League. Which, grand, you do that all the time. You say to your owners, we don't have players, bad things are coming, and hope that they get more players in. They get hammered 9-0. He's thinking, okay, right, this is huge. A huge one for me. This'll show them I was right.
Yeah.
Deadline day's coming up. I'll say it again so that they're reminded that how right I was.
Yeah.
And I guess they said, you know what, like you already did this, and we said no. So now you're trying to put the blame on us. If you can't keep us up with these players, then maybe we should find someone who can. Yeah. The question is now, why would you take that Bournemouth job?
Yes.
If you're
You'd have to have such faith in yourself.
Like, I mean, you know that you're not going to get any backing from the owners in January or the next 12 hours. I don't know if they have someone. So your job is to stay up with a team that just lost 9-0.
Yeah, tough. And as well, like, if you're Parker and you're constantly saying in the press, these players aren't good enough, we're not going to do anything with them, then you have to go to the players the next day and be like, all right, boys, who's ready to play Liverpool? They'll be like, well, it's kind of tough to motivate them then. Like,
well, if I was Scott Parker, I'd say, man, it wasn't not with you.
Yeah.
That wasn't what.
Yeah, individually go to all of them. I'm not.
Yeah.
It's not you, man. It's
no.
You.
I mean, listen, you're my guy. You're my fucking my main man, my ride or die. But I mean, it's fucking Jono, their left back. He's like, you know. That's what I'd be doing. You can't obviously say every single player here is not the standard, but saying we're way off where we need to be. And again, if you are in a team like Bournemouth and you look around, you go, yeah, there is players here who aren't good enough. He's right.
Yeah.
He might be talking about you, but you don't know that. You think he's about the other lads. So, I mean, it's not the end of the world for that. But, I mean, they probably will go down, I would say. I mean, it's not looking good.
Yeah. I mean, their only result of the season was against Gerrard's Villa, who have looked pretty bad in every game.
Yeah. Well, actually, you did mention that on your on the clip show. I'd forgotten already about my absolute that I was like record breaking thing. I mean, listen, a manager getting sacked in August is a pretty good start to a record breaking season.
Yeah,
Steve's in trouble. Moyes is in trouble. Tuchel is on the brink.
Yeah, Tuchel is gonna walk.
Yeah, that doesn't count though, is it? If he walks, but they
I
don't
would
walk.
count it. I think that'd be unfair.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Stevie's is in trouble. They lost again, didn't they? They lost to Arsenal.
Yeah. And their goal in that game was a corner which went straight in, which, like, that wasn't anything to do with you, Jared. Like, that was, like, you know what I mean? That's not like team play. That's a freak goal.
Ramsey was having a bit of a moment there,
Yeah, he dove the wrong way during a corner.
Yeah, there was the guy holding him, which is never given. You have to. I mean, it's kind of given, but like he was in the wrong spot. He was kind of like, oh, where am I going now? And there was a guy in front of me, couldn't get out of the way, and he kind of the dive, like, oh, I'll be held. It's like, no, you weren't. So.
Yeah. That's a goal. There was like 10 cameras pointed at you.
No, you weren't. He has a right to stand where he wants. You got to get out of the way. You don't have to get out of the way. So he kind of got fucked there. Just having a goalie moment. And then Arsenal came back. Yeah. They were very physical. Don't forget, this is the game that Gerrard probably wanted to teach Saka a lesson.
Yeah.
It wasn't exactly a hand-like performance, but did get an assist. Although they tried to kick Arsenal off the pitch in the first half, which is usually a good tactic for Arsenal. I mean, that usually works pretty effectively. I mean, look, am I saying that Arsenal now have the clutch gene, Will? Something that LeBron James never possessed?
I wouldn't have said that.
Am I saying that? Yes, I am. Listen, Aston Villa were European champions, man, right? And Arsenal just beat them. Ipso facto, league champions elect.
Do you know who Arsenal are playing at the weekend?
Man United.
Big one for the no-nonsense boys.
A strange one, it feels, Will. I mean, United obviously beat Liverpool in a historic win.
Yeah, best day of my life.
How they didn't get a penalty given against them against Southampton, I don't know.
You mean each handball cancelled out the one before it. Therefore, 4 handballs, no penalty.
So it's hard to know that one. They play again tonight. It's not quite breaking news from the past because the game hasn't started yet. But I mean, by the time this comes out, you'll know if they've won or not.
Yeah.
I don't think that kind of matters though with United versus Arsenal. It's just there is kind of, it means something as well to the fans, anyways.
Yeah. I think this feels like a bigger United Arsenal game than there's been in a long time, because normally it's like one or the other are so far ahead in the table. Over the last few years, it's felt like they've never really mattered. Whereas this one, it's like United are trying to push on. Arsenal are undefeated so far, so it's like
yeah, it's early days, but a lot has happened. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Like other years, it would have been almost defined. It was going to be Chelsea, Liverpool, and City, and then the rest. and you're all in chaos. Every one of you in your own way.
Yeah.
Oh, and you're playing a games like, well, I wonder will your players show up? You know, like Aubameyang that time, that kind of crisis. Whereas now United are kind of like, they signed Anthony for 85 million. They have Casemiro in. They've beaten Liverpool. It's like, okay, right, well, they have a bit of momentum now. Arsenal, like say, are incredibly undefeated.
Yeah.
You know,
not just undefeated, is 4 wins, isn't it?
Yeah, it's perfect record. You know,
that's crazy.
And look, I know people are saying, watch me get ahead of myself here now, but like people are saying they haven't played anybody. You know, that wasn't really Arsenal's problem. It was that they would lose to Aston Villa.
Yeah.
They would lose to Crystal Palace. You know, these are teams like there was no like, they beat these teams and they can't beat the top 6. They couldn't beat anybody ever.
Yeah, that was the issue. Yeah.
You would never back Arsenal in a game. You never say definitely Arsenal win.
Yeah.
And right now you wouldn't either. But that's not the point. The point is that they're winning. So I mean, look, it's a huge game for both of them. Hard to call, but I don't know, the way City are playing, it does kind of feel it's a little bit inconsequential in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, I think it's like a battle for who is the second best team in the league. But Haaland's just like if Haaland gets injured, then yeah, maybe, because I think it's a bit of a drop from him to Alvarez up front. So
he did score 2 great goals himself.
I think though the game was done by then.
Yeah,
Nottingham had packed it in. Let's just not make it 9. I'm sure they said
maybe 9 new players for the next game, perhaps.
Yeah, well, that's another thing as well. If you're playing for Forest at the moment, and every day they're signing 3 players, it feels like you have to worry that, like, say if you signed 2 months ago, and now you're thinking, have I been replaced already?
Yeah. I mean, how many players are they allowed on the matchday squad?
What is it, 11? And then how many's on the bench now? Is it 10 on the bench because there's 5 subs?
Like, they signed 17 players, plus I'm assuming the other 17 that were there, at least. I mean, it wasn't like they were like had a mass exit, was it? Or did they release that players when they came up?
I think they had a lot of players on loan, but I don't think they had that many. Like, because I think you can have a squad of 25 registered. So surely there's lads left out now who got them promoted.
Or who got signed 2 months ago, who were like not making the match day score. I'm thinking, well, this isn't what my agent said was going to happen. So yeah, in a way though, I don't really fear for Nottingham Forest. I feel like it's kind of a mess that's going to work out for them. There's like a lot of momentum behind them. Again, you'd fear more for the likes of Bournemouth. One team that you thought would definitely go down, Fulham. Mitrovic, he's finally cracked it. Will he knows it's
he
league now?
Just put the ball in the net in all of the leagues, not just the lower one. You could do it. You do it in international games. Why couldn't you have done it in the Prem all this time?
Yeah, I think to be fair, when he came up first with Newcastle and Fulham, he was only 20 and then 21, 22. Like, he was young enough. I know he's a massive, big Serbian man, and you wouldn't think he looks like he's 20. But I mean, I think maybe just a bit older, a bit more experienced now. But yeah, I mean, I think to everyone's surprise, really, he's now look. Before I say any more, we've seen the likes of Pookie start off on fire and then just cool to an absolute ice cube afterwards. So we'll see how it goes. But I mean, he's not doing anything crazy. He's just, he win the ball in the box. I mean, he turned over Gabriel there in the Emirates. Like, that's just kind of stuff because he's big and he's strong. Use your size and then finish well. So if he can do it all year, I think Fulham will be fine.
I did see a signing they made though, which made me a bit worried for them. See, they signed Willian, who was
he's back.
I think he's like 2 clubs ago he was finished.
He loves London.
Yeah,
that's why he went to Arsenal. He didn't want to move from London.
Yeah, so he's back now. I can't imagine he's going to do much. I think he's after coming off a failed stint in Brazil, which, I mean, I always just assumed players go there, just rip it up until they're retired.
I kind of thought it was like semi-retirement. You go back to where it all began, get a few kind of cheers from the crowd and, a few good moments. But I would never thought they were ripping it up. I mean, I would imagine it's pretty competitive over there in Brazil. Will? No?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I suppose they would be good players.
I mean, all the Brazilian players that we see now did probably start in Brazil, So,
yeah, that's a good point.
I always thought it was kind of like a victory lap in Brazil. You go back to, like when Duffin back to Shamrock Rovers that time.
Yeah.
Good to see him back on home soil. There was a few stories outside the Premier League, Will, that maybe caught some people's eyes. Again, it's we don't want to go on about the Premier League because, I mean, there's games going to happen tonight and there's going to be games happening in 2 days' time. Yeah. So, look, the 24-hour news cycle, what can you do?
Yeah, by the time you hear this episode, we're behind. There's games going on. There's going to be games going on while you're listening to this, I would nearly guarantee.
Yeah, I haven't looked much at the fixtures, but I'd imagine it might be like this until the World Cup happens, Will, and then it gets even crazier.
Because I remember City or someone said to Pep that they had 6 games in the next 18 days.
Oh, yeah, that's a lot for us. Forget the players. It's a lot for us to cover.
Yeah, they're athletes.
But one I think that might kind of run in the background of all these games is Paul Pogba. Will.
Yeah,
Paul Pogba. Who else?
What can you say about Paul Pogba that hasn't been said already? His brother discovered this week that there is things you can say that definitely I've never heard about him.
No, I wonder, was this in episode 3 to 6 of the Pogba entry that we ever watched, Will?
If it was, there's no way the reviews would have been as bad because people would have been like, this is like a true crime Netflix series.
Yeah, honestly, it's like he made the most boring documentary in the world and this was happening the whole time.
Yeah. He could have literally won an Oscar.
Well, so, for the folks at home, Will, explain what we're referencing.
So, this is from an article that sums it all up in The Independent called "What is Going On with Paul Pogba? A Family Feud, Blackmail, and a Witch Doctor."
Yeah, I can't really call him a blackmail. And what's that for anything?
That's dumb.
Was Ben's been involved? That's all I want to know.
So, a French police investigation has been launched after claims former United star Paul Pogba is the victim of a multi-million euro blackmail plot that involves his brother Matthias, who some of you may remember from the Europa League a few years ago. He had a terrible game against United.
Played the clip of Roy Keane snapping that he was shaking Pogba's hand too much.
That know each other really well and brothers, family members, but to be chatting behind their hands with each other, did this bother you?
Yeah, it does. But listen, he's the boy Pogba. He seems a bit of a free spirit and a bit of a character. But I think it was a little bit over the top tonight. Would it be before the game at halftime? Like they've spoke to each other more tonight than I think I've spoke to any of my brothers in the last 5 years. So all a bit strange, and they're probably chatting as we speak after the game. But I think when the game started, they were focused on the game. All the stuff before and after the game, a lot of nonsense. But that's the modern player, I'm afraid.
Matthias, 32, the elder brother of Paul, and the twin brother of Florentine, who might actually have been the player in the Europa League now that I think of it.
One of the two.
Until recently, the brothers appeared close-knit. On Saturday, Matthias published a video on Instagram in which he promised great revelations about Paul and the Juventus player's agent. In the video, Matthias said the whole world, as well as my brother's fans, and even more so, the French team and Juventus, deserve to know certain things. It will be explosive. So we'll play that clip here. It's in English, the video.
For those who don't know me, I'm a professional footballer and also the big brother of the world champion, Paul Pogba, currently playing at Juventus Turin after a disappointing spell at Man United. I don't think you missed it. with the hype surrounding his transfer and his setbacks due to his injury and his unforgettable, catastrophic documentary. Currently, my brother is recovering to be prepared for the future World Cup, which will be played in a short time. So, if I am making this video today and embarking on this process, it is because I believe the French, Italian and English public, my brother's fan, and even more, the French national team, the Juventus team, my brother's teammate and his sponsors deserve to know certain things in order to make an informed decision whether he deserves the admiration, respect and love of the public, whether he deserves his place in the French national team and the honor of playing in the World Cup, if he deserves to start at Juventus, if he's a trustworthy person that any player would want to have at his side, and finally, is he worthy of being taken as a representative and model by the youth of the world, and of course, the big brands.
France Info Radio reported that Pogba told investigators he had been threatened by childhood friends and two hooded men armed with assault rifles. They demanded €13 million for him for, in quotes, services provided, adding that one person close to him had withdrawn €200,000 using his credit card, which you'd be raging over. In a ferocious response to the latest updates on the case, Matthias called out Pogba's witchcraft and claimed because of fame and money, his brother has long since lost his notion of reality, which is kind of what Souness has been saying about Pogba all this time.
Oh, he will be loving this, Will.
Yeah. I knew it. I knew he was a witch doctor.
I didn't know why he was up to it, but I knew he was up to something. And this was it. Yeah, I'd like to say we'll follow this story as it comes, but it's this is, I think, a pretty fitting end to Pogba's career.
I think the maddest aspect as well is our old intern was involved, Kylian Mbappe.
Was he?
Yeah, so the witchcraft claims apparently are Matthias Pogba claims that he has video evidence of Pogba hiring like a wizard or a witch doctor to curse Mbappe to, I don't know, make him worse so that Pogba would be the star of French football. Which I saw that and was like, well, that's mental. But then L'Equipe, the like French sports news page, have put out a few things saying that there's growing concern in the French football team that the claims are true.
Fucking hell.
And like the videos are real.
Like that's, like you say, I mean, it would have been weird to think of Pogba's career just kind of fizzling out. Like there's like a year or two in Juve, then maybe, Sassuolo, then on loan to, Napoli maybe, some kind of weird one, and then he goes back to France or something like that. It was never going to go like that. It was always going to blow up. Yeah. And this is the kind of thing, he's going to be kicked out of the France national team, never going to speak to his family anymore. And he's probably going to quit in like a year, and he's going to be going to music or something, and it's going to be like, what has happened to Paul Pogba? He had all the talent in the world. You know
what I think Pogba is going to become? Pogba is going to become a streets will never forget footballer. Do you know what I mean? Like he's not going to be like an all-time great. He's going to be one who'll be like, oh, remember him? No,
I think there's too many Man United fans who will hate him. Like, that's true, yeah. I remember him well.
Yeah, he ruined my life.
Yeah, he was not a cool footballer. He was inconsistent. He didn't track back. That's what they'll say, Will. Unfortunate Pogba.
So to round up the story for the moment, would you like to hear some quotes from the French football president, Noël Le Gras? He said he hoped this affair does not call into question Pogba's place in the team. At this stage, these are just rumours. Oh. Which to me doesn't sound like it. Like, I think he'd be a lot more strongly denying the witchcraft thing if I was him. Hey, look, maybe he cursed Mbappe, maybe not. Who cares? It's just a rumour.
We can't confirm or deny if these are rumours or there was actually a witch doctor involved. Yeah, it's true. But what else can you say, Will? I mean, can you ever confirm if a witch doctor was involved? You got to track him down first.
Well, hopefully the video comes out soon. Hopefully Pogba does not pay up, and either A, the video is real and it comes out, or B, a very badly made fake video of Pogba comes out by a clearly that's clearly his brother dressed up as him.
Well, I think that brings us on nicely to top fives. Play the music. This week, Will, top five Nigels. Number one, Nigel de Jong.
Are these in order or?
Yeah, well, look, we got some feedback, and it's going back to the order. That's what the people want. I'll give the people what they want.
It's funny because easily top five is the most feedback we've ever gotten for a segment.
100%. So we're back to what they want. We will bend to your whims, fans. Number one, Nigel de Jong. The kind of player, Will, that never really goes out of fashion.
He's number one.
Well, bear with me, Will. The votes are in my head. So the votes are in and counted, and this is number one, Nigel de Jong. Look, Will, if he plays for your team, you love him. He plays against them. You probably remember him for kicking Alonso in the chest and not getting even a yellow card, I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly. Yeah. I'd say Ben Arthur remembers him for breaking his leg and ruining his career. Yeah. He never put a 38 game season together again after that.
I tell you what, he's not in his top five.
Oh, I wouldn't say so. I wouldn't say there's any Christmas cards from Hattie and Ben Arthur, Will. Yeah. Not only for the religion aspect, but also because of the broken leg thing. But look, like I say, I think every team at one stage has been crying out for a Nigel de Jong type player, and look, he's got a lot of caps from the Netherlands. I think he won the league with Man City before he got shipped out there.
I think so.
That first one. But anyways, that's our number one, Nigel. Number two, Nigel Winterburn, Arsenal great, part of the 97-98 winning team. Some people say, Will, that the 97-98 team was probably better than the Invincibles team. Had a bit of the George Graham kind of, British kind of grit and steel, and also kind of the Wenger ball. He also had Tony Adams, Nigel Winterburn, and who else? Bergkamp in their prime in that era. So
somehow Nigel Winterburn,
more dated, great player, played for Arsenal for years. And I'm not even now. Listen to Will. I'm ignoring you, Will. I'm blasting through. Number three, Nigel Pearson. Remember him?
Yeah, he's one surely.
It's funny to think of Nigel Pearson's career as the manager of Leicester, because you kind of think of like the meltdowns that he had, and if you didn't remember correctly, you'd think that must have been it. They must have he's finished, because you had the choking McAllister or McCarthy, I should say, for Chris Palace on the sideline. That was a weird episode. I don't know if it was that for Watford, maybe. I think maybe that was for Watford.
Yeah,
but that was a good one. There was the one at Leicester where he called the reporter an ostrich.
Well, Ian, have you been on holiday for 6 months? Have you? Have you been away for 6 months?
I'm not quite sure what specific purposes you're.
Well, I think you must have been either head in the clouds, away on a holiday, or reporting on a different team. Because if you don't know the answer to that question, I think your question is absolutely unbelievable. The fact that you do not understand where I'm coming from. If you don't know the answer to that question, then I think you are an ostrich. Well, your head must be in the sand. Is your head in the sand? Are you flexible enough to get your head in the sand? My suspicion would be no. I can, you can't.
Any more questions? Should we wrap it there?
You can't. Listen, you've been here often enough. For you to ask that question, I think you're either being very, very silly or you're being absolutely stupid. One of the two. Because for you to ask that question, I'm sorry, son, but you are daft.
Which, again, it's like we all got what he meant. It wasn't like, what does he mean? But what the problem was, like, why didn't you just say you have your head in the sand? Why do you add another step? Like, you're an ostrich. Am I really fast? No. Do I have feathers? No.
I'm very large.
Do I have a long neck? No, but you're getting closer. It's about the neck. It's about the head. Are you giving away too much? I'll give you another guess. It was just a weird kind of meltdown. But that's not what did him in. What did him in was his son going on a racist rant in the middle of an orgy in Thailand, and he had to retire out of respect for the league, I suppose.
And what happened next?
Well, in his mind, he had created a team that would win the league, and that's what they did. And honestly, if you look at Ranieri's managerial career before and after that, you might be inclined to agree that it was a lot of Nigel Pearson in that Premier League victory. So I'm sure him and his son have a really good relationship these days, if they still talk at all, that is. Number 4, Will. Nigel Reo-Coco. Now that's a player that the streets never forget. You remember Nigel Reo-Coco?
No idea.
You've never heard of Nigel Reo-Coco?
No, I don't think so.
I mean, he's kind of like a bang average Premier League player, but his name is Nigel, and he's probably most.
Who's going to be 5?
Well, look, you know how the segment works at this point. I think we're all our footballers. Like I say, bang average Premier League footballer, which is to say, probably one of the best footballers in the world in his time. Yeah. But, it's all relative. He's most famous for getting into a fight and losing to Martin O'Neill as manager when he played Aston Villa.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. Do you want to hear Stilian Petrov describing this through tears of laughter?
Absolutely.
It was hilarious, recalls Petrov over a decade on. I think Martin beat him up. We still talk about it to this day.
Who's we?
I guess him and the other Aston Villa alumni who go down to local and talk about the good old days of Aston Villa where they finished 6th in the 09 or 10 season. Him, Ashley Young, Stuart Downing, Neil Warnock. Or is it Martin Warnock? Anyways, one of the Warnocks. He's left back. Richard Dunn maybe is there too. Who knows? Yeah. Anyways, he goes on. It was really funny. The two of them put up their fists and fighting. This was part of a winning mentality and a winning team, though. It was two guys with very strong opinions that had a disagreement, suggests Petrov, who had watched the fight escalated firsthand. They squared up to one another, and I think the gaffer slapped him. Nigel kind of went for him as well. The funny thing is, though, Martin is a very honest man, and he expected an apology. He didn't get an apology, so he left Nigel out for the team for a while, but he fought his way back in.
That's amazing.
We've seen a lot of players who aren't happy with O'Neill and how he manages Miss Petrov, but he is the kind of man, he's all about Saturday, about winning and achieving. Some players cannot deal with that. It isn't a big issue. Some players just cannot deal with the pressure. Nigel was a very good player, but he was challenged all the time in a serious competition at Villa. Sometimes you have to be up to the task. Sometimes he just wasn't. So I don't know, talking about like the games or just like the task of beating up a then, I guess, 50-year-old Martin O'Neill. But yeah, that probably his most memorable moment for Aston Villa fans, I'd say.
And here we go.
What you've all waited for. Number 5. Nigel Thornberry.
Christ.
Anybody remember the 90s?
I look forward to looking at the listener the graph of
they love
retention.
It, Will. They love it. I think if you had to guess, Will, what team do you think Nigel Thornberry would support?
Support?
I mean, he's kind of like based on Steve Irwin and the other guy, the British guy,
David Attenborough.
And David Attenborough, if he was a cartoon character. Sort of like a rich, kind of a Londonish guy, and also a bit rough.
I think West Ham.
No, I wouldn't say West Ham, Will. That's probably the wrong side of London. I would say maybe Crystal Palace, I think.
Oh,
yeah. I think Nigel Thornberry would be a Crystal Palace fan.
Yeah, I could see that.
Like, he's educated, but, he bought you from behind, for sure. If you didn't think anybody would catch him.
A wild accusation to throw at Nigel Thornberry.
Aren't you just itching with childlike curiosity?
No.
Smash it, smashing, smashing. Smash it, smashing, smashing. Smash it, smashing, smashing. Actually, not the word I'd use.
And then, honourable mention this week, Nigel Clough.
There's 6 of them.
No. Not number 6. He's an honourable mention. Nigel Clough. And respect for your father.
Yeah.
Play the music. Okay. That's like I say, there's a lot of stuff that happened. It would do it a disservice to try and mention them all.
Yeah, a bit of a scattered episode this week because there's just too much.
One thing I did want to see. What am I talking about? One thing I did see, Will, the farce of Barcelona. Again, that's just one that you got to be on that minute by minute to cover that one.
Yeah, you can't keep up.
But I did see that Aubameyang was mysteriously a man who Barcelona are trying to get rid of. Some people find out where he lived.
They broke his jaw.
Threatened his family. And I mean, he said exactly what I'm not saying anybody wanted him to think, but if you were trying to get rid of him, he said he doesn't feel safe in his own home.
Yeah.
Now look, if you're trying to get a man out of his house, so look, I mean, I'm not saying that anything was planned, but I did just watch the Figo documentary. Will I believe that anything is possible. I mean, that's a strange one.
I do have one more little segment for us, Kyle.
Go on.
Because since the dawn of the podcast, we've always said, where's the feedback? We want feedback.
Oh, yes.
And we want comments. We've never really got any. But this week, we posted a clip to our TikTok, no_nonsense_pod, which is the same as all our social medias, if you're looking for us. But that clip did very well. It was a clip of you saying, talking about how Gabriel Jesus was like, people used to say he was like a shit kind of footballer and like
yeah.
That clip that got 95,000 views on TikTok and 90 comments.
From bots?
No, from real people.
You bought bots and that's how we got those views. Are you serious?
Honest to God, it has 6,000 likes and 90 comments.
What have we been doing for 2 years on Instagram? What?
But this week on Instagram, the same clip got like 17,000 views as well. Do you want to know what the difference was? Instead of
take it cancelled, we got all his fans.
Instead of our hilarious photoshops, I just put on a clip of Pep walking around. Views are through the roof. We need to cut the photoshops.
That's my favorite.
That's my favorite part.
That's kind of why we got this in the first place. You know, I thought this might further my career. Look at all these photoshops I did, but I guess it was video that gets us famous.
But so here's what I was about to do. Last week unveiled a new segment, the comment corner.
Yes.
How about this week we have another little comment corner of comments on the TikTok, some of which are aimed at us.
I wish I could give this feeling. I wish I could give this feeling.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'd worry that we might lose fans if we just read out the good ones. So I mean, read out the ones that are mean. You got to read out the ones that are, let the people voice their opinions on the show.
So Cafi, CAFI, said he started for City in the Centurion season, rightfully benched Aguero. There's a reason he didn't continue after that. He's just not a reliable finisher.
Yeah, I mean, look, that is something that I would probably agree with as well. And he has started well for Arsenal, that's true. But I mean, he hasn't scored that many goals. He scored the 2 against who was it? That he scored 2 against. And he's got a few assists, and I think he's brought a lot of kind of leading the line to Arsenal and something they missed. But yeah, look, we'll see how many goals he finishes with. I wouldn't be surprised if it was around 15, which probably is enough for City. So, I'm excited. I'm excited to see someone playing well for Arsenal after, Aubameyang notching up for the games. So, look, sue me.
Drip Too Icy, great name, said,
nice.
I love people who didn't watch City trying to tell City fans that they know more about Jesus. He left for a reason. Spicy.
Yeah, no, again, look, you gotta wait and see, I suppose, how the season goes. Only time will tell. Drip Too Icy.
Yeah, Drip Too Icy. TikTok's most toxic troll, that's his name, said bad take.
Oh, well.
I think he might have given away the game with his name, though. Satanta42 says Pep is a checkbook manager. Fact.
Oh, shit. He came with facts. Abort. We have nothing. Get out of there, Will.
Kebab KDB, great name, said,
nice.
this guy from the No Nonsense podcast apparently knows more than Pep.
Fucking hell. We've angered the City fans, Will.
Oh.
They exist outside of Ireland, you see. We think we're safe here, but in the wider world, they've been around for a long time now.
And there's one more amazing comment. I'm trying to find it here. There's like, this is amazing. We literally have people arguing in our comment section with each other.
We should dip in and stir the pot.
Yeah. Well, this one said, clueless Americans don't know anything. I think he's talking about us.
Damn. Well, I do have a bit of American twang sometimes. I've consumed a lot of television over the years, Will, so there's definitely going to be a bit of influence there. But look, this is what we've always wanted.
Yeah.
This is what we thought we always wanted. This is what we definitely said we wanted, Will. And well, careful what you wish for, folks. I mean, I feel terrible.
Floodgates of open. Keep them coming.
Maybe we just don't do TikTok anymore. Maybe we just call each other on the phone and talk about football like the old days, Will.
1-to-1 podcast.
Yeah, that's this. I don't like this at all. I hate this. I'm on the brink. I'm like Thomas Tuchel right now. I'm on the brink.
No, honestly, that is nonsense. Nonsense. All nonsense. But listen, I've been on that road before.
The guy from No Nonsense podcast knows more than Pep.
I never said that. I didn't even mention Pep. I know. What was the video of, though? What was the video of, Pep?
Roasted you.
We'll see, right? When Arsenal win the league, we'll see who knows more. Me and Arteta or Pep, all right?
They're imposters.
Nothing to ask me, for my opinion, a little bit unfair.
But in between that, there was drinks.
Why are you talking rubbish?